Before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, corporate hiring practices in America were starkly different from what we see today. In an era marked by segregation and systemic discrimination, opportunities were often limited to a select few. Companies openly practiced discriminatory hiring, often excluding individuals based on race, gender, and ethnicity. Job advertisements frequently specified requirements that were thinly veiled codes for racial and gender preferences. For example, phrases like whites only or male applicants preferred were commonplace. African Americans, women, and other marginalized groups faced significant barriers to employment, relegated to lower-paying menial jobs with little to no opportunity for advancement. Workplace environments mirrored the social segregation of the time. Separate facilities, such as restrooms and cafeterias, were the norm, reinforcing a culture of exclusion. The concept of diversity and inclusion was virtually non-existent, with corporate leadership dominated by white males. The lack of legal protections meant that discriminatory practices went largely unchallenged. Those who did speak out faced severe repercussions, including job loss and blacklisting. The systemic nature of discrimination ensured that inequality was perpetuated across generations. This historical context underscores the importance of the Civil Rights Act, which aimed to dismantle these entrenched discriminatory practices. It marked the beginning of a slow but crucial journey toward workplace equality and inclusivity, a journey that is far from complete. As we reflect on this period, it becomes clear that the progress made since then is not something to be taken for granted. The rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives threatens to undo decades of hard-won victories and return us to a time when discrimination was the norm. There's a disturbing trend emerging in corporate America. It's a trend that threatens to undo years of progress and hard-won victories in the realm of workplace equality and inclusivity. Major companies are abandoning their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. These initiatives, which were designed to create more equitable workplaces, are now being sidelined. Target, Amazon, and Walmart are just a few examples. These retail giants, once seen as leaders in promoting diversity, are now scaling back their commitments. These companies, once champions of diversity, are now scaling back their commitments. The rollback of these programs is not just a minor adjustment, it's a significant step backward. This shift comes amidst a changing political landscape and a growing backlash against DEI initiatives. The political climate has become increasingly hostile to these programs, with some arguing that they are no longer necessary or even counterproductive. The timing of these rollbacks is no coincidence. They coincide with a rise in political rhetoric that questions the value of diversity and inclusion while creating a climate of fear and uncertainty. Political rhetoric and legal challenges have companies worried about potential legal repercussions and any potential perceived impact on their bottom line. Some companies are now prioritizing short-term profits over long-term social responsibility. They believe that by cutting DEI programs, they can reduce costs and appease certain stakeholders. This short-sightedness ignores the compelling evidence that DEI is not just good for society, it's good for business. Studies have shown that diverse teams are more innovative, more productive, and more profitable. The decision to cut DEI programs is not just a strategic misstep, it's a moral one. It undermines the principles of fairness and equality that these companies claim to uphold. It sends a disheartening message to employees, customers, and the broader community. It suggests that these companies are willing to sacrifice their values for the sake of expediency. By abandoning DEI, these companies are signaling that they are out of touch with the values of today's workforce and consumers. They risk alienating the very people they need to succeed in a competitive market. They risk alienating talent, losing market share, and damaging their reputations. In the long run, the cost of abandoning DEI could far outweigh any short-term savings. The business case for DEI is clear. In today's rapidly evolving business landscape, diversity, equity, and inclusion are not just buzzwords. They are essential components of a successful organization. Numerous studies have shown a strong correlation between diversity and business performance. Companies that prioritize DEI initiatives often see significant improvements in their overall performance metrics. Companies with diverse leadership teams and workforces are more innovative, more profitable, and better positioned to compete in a global marketplace. This is because diverse teams bring a variety of perspectives and ideas to the table, fostering creativity and innovation. Diversity of thought, perspective, and experience leads to better problem solving and decision making. When people from different backgrounds work together, they can approach challenges from multiple angles, leading to more effective and comprehensive solutions. A McKinsey study found that companies in the top quartile for ethnic and racial diversity in their executive teams were 36% more likely to have above average profitability. This statistic underscores the tangible benefits of fostering a diverse and inclusive workplace. Diversity is not just a box to be checked. It's a strategic imperative for any company that wants to thrive in the 21st century. Embracing diversity means recognizing the value that different perspectives bring and actively working to create an inclusive environment where everyone can contribute to their fullest potential. By fostering a culture of inclusion, companies can attract top talent, improve employee satisfaction, and drive long-term success. In the end, the business case for diversity is not just about numbers, it's about creating a workplace where everyone feels valued and empowered to succeed. The benefits of DEI extend far beyond the bottom line. It's not just about meeting quotas or checking boxes. It's about creating an environment where every individual feels valued and respected. When diversity, equity, and inclusion are prioritized, it leads to a more innovative and dynamic workplace. Different perspectives and experiences bring fresh ideas and solutions to the table. Inclusion fosters a more engaged and productive workforce. Employees who feel included are more likely to contribute their best work. They are more motivated, more creative, and more committed to the organization's goals. This sense of belonging can significantly reduce turnover rates and increase employee satisfaction. When employees feel valued and respected for who they are more likely to be engaged in their work, committed to the company's success, and more likely to stay with the company long term. This creates a positive feedback loop where the company culture continuously improves, attracting even more diverse talent. DEI initiatives are not just about hiring people from diverse backgrounds. They're about creating a workplace culture where everyone feels welcome, respected, and empowered to contribute their unique talents. This involves continuous learning, open communication, and a commitment to equity at all levels of the organization. This sense of belonging translates into higher morale, increased productivity, and a stronger employer brand. Companies that embrace DEI are not only doing the right thing, but are also positioning themselves for long-term success in an increasingly diverse and global marketplace. Ethical imperative. Doing what's right. Beyond the business case, there's a fundamental ethical imperative to champion diversity and inclusion. It's about creating a more just and equitable society where everyone has the opportunity to succeed regardless of their race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, or any other dimension of diversity. Companies have a responsibility to use their influence and resources to promote positive social change. Cutting DEI programs is not only bad for business, it's morally wrong. It sends a message that these companies are not committed to creating a more inclusive and equitable world. Ignoring the evidence, a short-sighted approach. The decision to cut DEI programs is short-sighted and ultimately counterproductive. Companies that prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability will find themselves at a disadvantage in an increasingly diverse and interconnected world. Consumers are increasingly demanding that companies align with their values. A recent study found that 83% of millennials believe that businesses should actively shape social issues. Companies that fail to embrace DEI risk alienating customers investors, and top talent. Champions of inclusion, leading the way. Fortunately, not all companies are abandoning their commitment to DEI. Companies like Apple, Costco, and JP Morgan are doubling down on their efforts, recognizing that diversity is not just a moral imperative, it's a business imperative. These companies are investing in programs to attract, retain, and promote diverse talent. They are creating inclusive workplace cultures where everyone feels valued and respected. They are leading by example, demonstrating that DEI is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. A call to action. Sustaining the momentum. We are at a critical juncture. The decisions companies make today will have a lasting impact on the future of our workforce and our society. We cannot allow fear and uncertainty to derail the progress we have made. Let's support companies that are champions of diversity and inclusion. Let's hold accountable those that are backtracking on their commitments. And let's continue to push for progress, knowing that a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive world is not just possible, it's essential. Before the Civil Rights Act, corporate hiring practices were largely discriminatory. Companies often hired based on race, gender, and other biases, leading to a lack of diversity in the workplace. This resulted in a homogeneous workforce that did not reflect the broader society. The exclusion of diverse talent hindered innovation and perpetuated systemic inequalities. The Civil Rights Movement brought about significant changes, but the journey toward true equality has been long and arduous. The introduction of diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) programs marked a significant step forward, aiming to create more equitable workplaces. However, the recent rollback of these programs threatens to undo decades of progress. As we navigate this critical juncture, it's essential to remember the lessons of the past and the importance of sustaining our commitment to a diverse and inclusive future.